Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cantina Chatter Podcast. It is great to see you once again. HasLab. Tom, what's going on with HasLab?
Well, the G.I. Joe classified his tank is doing crazy numbers. That funded in a day, in 8 hours. I think it even hit its first stretch goal in the first day. I didn't expect that. I don't know if anybody expected that, but that's what happens when you've got a fan base that's been starving for some product for a long time. When you make a dream project, something that people have wanted for a long time,
right?
It really, the price point I guess is good. At this point in time, you get 3 figures with it, and since figures are now $25 a pop, that's increasing the overall value. It's not for me, but it's pretty cool for what it is.
It looks cool for what it is.
Yeah. Meanwhile, someone at Hasbro, I have no idea who it is, and I'm sorry not to be too conspiratorial, but I refuse to believe it's the normal Star Wars team because I don't know. Someone said somewhere that there was like a different team managing HasLab. What a bungled thing. A second bungle in a row. The Darth Reva lightsaber, which no one knew anything about the character, crashed and burned like we all expected. I'm not going to sit here and cheer that on, but only 1,500 people wanted it. I knew as soon as that was announced that was dead in the water. I don't understand whoever's in charge of Hasbro why they thought that was a particularly good idea. Dream projects are not for characters that you've never heard of before. And honestly, a lightsaber,
sure.
The only lightsaber that's super, I don't know. I don't think lightsabers belong in that sort of category at all.
Sure. Yeah, well, we'll talk about all that. This episode we're going to be focusing on HasLab, what's gone on with the last couple, and, what should they do? What should Hasbro do in order to get things back on track and have a successful HasLab? So, Tom, thank you for joining me. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm just fine, Victoria. My air conditioning is working, and I am hiding out inside in it, in this sweltering Brooklyn summer weather.
Right on. I've got mine on too. It's not even that hot, but it's like warm enough to where it's like, I could use that. We're supposed to get some monsoonal conditions later in the week, and I'm not looking forward to that.
Monsoon conditions?
Monsoonal conditions, yeah, with the higher humidity and from storms that come off from the from Mexico and stuff like that. So. Oh wow. But
okay.
It happens every summer. It's like a normal thing. It kind of sucks to deal with it. But well, that's San Diego for you. Most 90% of the time, 90% of the time, it's amazing. So can't complain too much.
Right, except for when Tyrannosaurus Rex is running around downtown.
Yeah, I wish I lived here for that. I would have loved to gone over there to see it. Mom, take me to see that. That would have worked out well.
Right.
Well, cool. Glad to hear you're doing well. So, these HasLabs, they're so interesting because I feel like I never really know exactly what's going to fund and what isn't anymore. Like the Proton Pack last year, that was a huge thing. I was all over that. I backed it and I was like, I hope it funds, but I don't think it's going to fund. But it did. It funded, and then some. And then you have the Marvel ones. They generally fund, or they always fund. Yep. Cookie Monster did not fund. The Rancor did not fund. Reva's lightsaber. I think you said Darth Reva earlier. That was funny.
Right.
I
always call all the bad guys Darth. The whatever the Inquisitor was from Rebels. I call her Darth Buffy.
Yeah.
I don't remember the other guy's name. Fifth brother.
So.
Yeah.
Fifth brother. Yeah, the one that Maul kills.
Yeah, and who made a real impact in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series as a guy that was also there.
With his Batman voice. So weird. So does Hasbro have a HasLab Star Wars problem? Or, it's weird. the Sail Barge, like, that was the very first HasLab, and it almost didn't fund.
Yep.
I know people were
wasn't
kind of
until the
like,
last 24 hours.
Right, that it did, and then everybody was like, "Oh, that's a sigh of relief," because I know a lot of people really wanted that in the community.
Yep.
The
was
Razor
a dream
Crest,
project.
it was a dream. That, yeah, exactly, like you were saying earlier, dream project. That's what HasLab should be about. The Razor Crest, not something that could be offered at retail at that level. Maybe you do a more dumbed down version, so to speak, and you sell that at Target for $150. But if you want like an all out TVC quality Razor Crest, okay, HasLab, and that funded quickly. I
do wonder if that had gotten blown up on screen before the Razor Crest hit its goal. I do wonder if it would have still funded or if it would have had the same numbers. I'm doubtful it would have had the same numbers. I think a lot of people thought that was going to be the new Millennium Falcon, and instead it's already gone. But regardless, it's an incredible toy, and I know it seems everyone that's got it's very happy with it. So
yeah, totally. The Rancor, I think, is kind of like, there's a couple of ways to look at it. So the timing on it was piss poor, obviously. This is something that should have been safe for Book of Boba Fett. Unfortunately, like they say, loose lips sink ships, and that's kind of what happened with the Rancor. It got that, they could have still saved it, I guess. It didn't need to be announced like a week later, like they did.
Yeah, they should have saved it.
And I think had they saved it for Book of Boba Fett, it would have had a better shot. I don't know if it would have funded it. They would have had a better shot. The campaign was a little weird, but what Hasbro, the other way to look at it is Hasbro's perspective, right? They say, okay, we did a HasLab Rancor for Black Series, and maybe they look at their mistakes, maybe they don't. Maybe they say people didn't want it, and that kind of like is the nail in the coffin for like Black Series scale HasLabs. Then you have this, the lightsaber. Another weird case, another interesting case, because like you said, it's a lightsaber first and foremost, which is interesting. But it belongs to a character that nobody knew when it was announced. And yeah, so I mean, I'm not surprised it didn't fund. I don't know that anybody honestly thought it was going to fund, like really.
No.
It doesn't spin, which, whatever. I don't even know how you would get it to spin. Like, how would you even do that? Because I don't even know how you would engineer it to spin. I haven't even seen an aftermarket customized one that spins. So,
but it's just a lightsaber. There's so many lightsabers out there, and beyond the fact that the hilts are slightly different, it's a glowing red tube. I love them. They're cool. Power to everyone that collects them. But like, it's just another one. It's not something we've been wanting for years and years and years. Oh my gosh, finally I'm going to get, it's another lightsaber. It would be like, oh my god, we're finally getting a stormtrooper that has a red stripe on his face. Like, it's another stormtrooper, guys. Except for $500.
Yeah.
And HasLab.
Yeah, it's I mean, I posited this idea on Twitter the other day, like, what if it was like a Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi lightsaber, and it wasn't like just another Elite saber, which, for a while I had been buying the Elite sabers. I kind of stopped because they're not keeping up with the tech on them. Like, they're not like, the tech is 15 years outdated. It really is. Like, the ones you buy at Galaxy's Edge 2, like, those are even worse. So it's like, you have customizers, and if you buy a customized, lightsaber aftermarket, you're going to pay more because, that's people like in their homes and their small businesses putting those together. But I kind of feel like if they would have done a Luke Skywalker, just because Luke is Luke, right? Or even like an Ahsoka, like 2-pack or something. But they had all the bells and whistles, what customizers are doing with their own lightsabers, like flickering blades and sound fonts that you can switch through, color changing blades, all these different things that they do. Like, the tech is just at such a higher level than what Hasbro does. Like, and it's a character people love. Like, could that have made a difference? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
I I mean, are you telling me there's not a Luke Skywalker lightsaber available out there for people to buy? Like, maybe it doesn't have all the advanced tech, but there's Luke Skywalker lightsabers, right? You can just go onto eBay or Amazon and buy them, can't you? Am I wrong? I'm not in the lightsaber market generally, so like I legitimately have no idea. Isn't that just another version of a thing that we already have?
Yeah, a way better version than what we already have. Like way immensely better. And I think that's a big part of it. And I asked Hasbro this when I get the opportunity, like, are you guys going to improve the tech? And they're like, yeah, we're always looking to make things better, which fine. But I mean, the sabers as they are now coming from Hasbro, people were doing that 15 years ago. They're not like that, like,
right.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Anyway, yeah, roleplay is an interesting thing because obviously the Proton Pack, it worked out, and it wasn't the first Proton Pack. Mattel had done a Proton Pack through their own, like, when they were doing the whole Matty Collector thing. They did the That's props true. And everything. But I guess, yeah, so some people would have had that, but this still funded, and it still did well. And so maybe they were just emboldened to do roleplay again. But it is strange.
Yeah, I also have a specific feeling about that, which comes to the G.I. Joes and the Ghostbusters fan base. All right, Ghostbuster fans, I think, are kind of starving. They had a robust toy line in the 80s when the original movies came out and the real Ghostbusters TV show was out. One of the
best toy lines ever.
It was an incredible toy line, absolutely incredible toy line. And also, like, I gotta be honest, I think that the real Ghostbusters after the original Ghostbusters movie is the only particularly good Ghostbusters thing out there. Ghostbusters 2, I watch it and I get a kick out of it, but it's, and the other two are, they are what they are. But real Ghostbusters is fantastic. It's so fantastic. Anyone that hasn't rewatched real Ghostbusters recently, go back and watch some of those. The Ghostbusters, they accidentally travel back in time and zap Scrooge's ghosts, thereby leading to an ultra dystopian capitalistic future. Wait. Yeah, they do that. They fight Cthulhu. I mean, just like so inventive, such wacky fun things. That show that show really holds up. It really holds up. But okay, so then in the 2000s, there was the Matty Collector series of stuff, or the Mattel stuff, which I thought about buying at one point, and decided not to. Although some of those I want the Scoleri brothers, and I think I've got to get a Slimer because obviously, the new stuff that came out, the Plasma series stuff, that's dead in the water.
Seems like it.
Yeah, that's not going anywhere. I'm crushed that they didn't continue releasing new real Ghostbusters stuff. Crushed by that. Because honestly, I'm really into the straight up retro re-releases of the stuff I had as a kid now. Just sell it to me again so I can keep it in the package and pretend I'm in a store.
Where is that stuff? We haven't gotten any announcements for this year.
For Ghostbusters?
Yeah, for the real Ghostbusters stuff. We haven't gotten anything this year.
I think it's over.
Oh man, I'll have to ask them if they're. Yes. I hope they have like a Ghostbusters person at a Comic-Con next week because I want to ask them.
Yes, I would love to hear that they're releasing not the Dreadful Fright features, but maybe the slimed heroes or the glowing ones or whatever. I'm all in on those Ninja Turtle repacks. Thank you for sending me the message about the superhero ones. I was on top of a mountain. I had to not tell my wife that I was quickly buying those when I was on the mountain. She's in the room now, so now she knows. But yeah, I'm nuts about all that stuff. Also, that's why I was so excited about the retro set you got to reveal today, Bosk and Boba Fett. I'm really excited for that. I really thought when they
Yeah, so real quick, that was a cool thing. So Hasbro asked us to participate in unveiling a brand new Hasbro Star Wars product that turned out to be the retro collection Bosk and Boba Fett pack. It's $27.99. Goes up for pre-order tomorrow, which when this episode goes up, it'll already have been on pre-order. But still cool. Bantha Skull and Bosk's Bounty helped to announce that as well. And, especially cool that Bosk's Bounty, makes sense to announce a Bosk figure.
Oh my gosh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I love his channel.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so I sort of think that Ghostbusters fans, they're not given a steady drip of stuff to collect. Same thing with G.I. Joe. G.I. Joe went on to a hiatus, and it's been on a hiatus for a long, long time now. They did sort of little drips and drabs of stuff with the re-releases of the modern 3 3/4 figures, but on the retro card backs, and no one liked that because they want the O-rings again, which I totally understand. So now they're re-releasing the O-rings in 2-packs that are now $20 per figure that you get in that sleeve, like Bosk and Boba Fett. And they're really focused on the classified series because 6 inch is the go-to scale for stuff these days. And so I think that when you have two fan bases that don't have a steady diet of stuff to collect, why wouldn't they go all out on that? They haven't been, haven't spent the past, 30 years consistently collecting the new Ghostbusters figures or even the new G.I. Joes as of 15. I don't know. Someone correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think it's been 15 years or something like that. So I understand why those are bigger draws. Star Wars, if you think about, the big thing for me would have been the sail barge, and they did that, and it eked across the finish line. In the final 24 hours, it jumped ahead to 8,000 from the 5,000 they needed, almost 9,000, I think. But that was still that was touch and go for a bit. Marvel is the biggest property on the planet. That's the number one thing. So that, and they're not making weird things. It's there's a bunch of giant things in Marvel that would fit in with Legends, and Legends has been around for long enough now that there are people that want an even bigger Sentinel or an even bigger Galactus. Going to your point of things that they already have that they want bigger versions of. Mm-hmm. Star Wars, on the other hand, the other major things that you would, maybe think about would be, I hear people wanting another Sandcrawler. I hear that one a lot, and that one boggles my mind. They've made 2 scales of Sandcrawler. One's, I think, available at Disney parks now. It's not giant, but, the Sandcrawler is a box with wheels.
Right there. That's the regular one.
Yeah.
That's not the... I don't have the Disney one, but I'm happy with this. Could it be bigger? Yeah, of course, but
then it's not even going to fit on your shelf.
That's true. And like you said, dream... HasLab should be for dream products, things that people have been asking for, things that we have dozens of figures for that need a home, things like that. And that... I love the Sandcrawler, and I'd love to see a big one, but I mean,
it would be cool.
Once you put everything inside it, unless it has panels that come off like the barge has, I mean, it's they need to do things we don't have. It needs to be focused on things we want, dream projects that don't exist in any format. I mean, there's a lot of things they could make better. You can make a better Republic gunship. You can make a better any of these TIE fighters with the wings that just fall off. You can make a better, some of these X-wings could be better. I mean, you could do so many things, but at least we have those. They may not be perfect, but they're pretty great for what they are generally. So
you'd never be able to.
Yeah.
You'd never be able to convince me that we need a TIE fighter or an X-wing from HasLab. It's what? It's we've got so many. We've got so many. And sorry, to Black Series folk, given the fact that the TIE Fighter rotted on the shelves until it was clearanced out for $20, I don't think a X-Wing is a particularly good idea. Maybe give it a shot, because again, it would be an incredibly limited run, right? So rather than spending the $120 at retail, you'd spend $350 on it now. And everyone would be mad. No, it should be $100. It should be $200. Welcome to 2022, guys. It's not $100 anymore.
And it would
they're only
going to
make 10,000 of them.
Can you imagine how big it's gonna be? Like the size of this desk in front of me too. It's like, and when you're talking about the vintage collection, like X-wings are already very hard to display because they're just so weird. They're like a Poseidon's like staff or whatever you want to call it. It's hard to display, and sometimes you got to take. I've even taken the wings off on one side to like put them sideways because they're just so awkward to display. Like a 6-inch one, like I can't imagine how I would like do that.
Where's your TIE fighter at?
In the closet.
Giant TIE fighter.
It's in the closet because it doesn't fit anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's too big.
And I know you can say, well, if it was an Imperial TIE fighter rather than the First Order one, it's like, no, it's still a giant thing that no one has space to display.
Yeah.
So other things that would be great big Hasbro items, you could do a really big Millennium Falcon with all sorts of stuff
TVC
inside.
or for let's clarify. Okay.
Or no, for HasLab, right?
For Black Series.
No. Yes, sorry. Yes, Vintage Collection Vintage Collection HasLab. You could do a really big Millennium Falcon, right? And it's got like extra spaces in the cockpit, and you've got all your display stuff. Oh wait, we already have that. We got it a number of years ago, and it's like the 4th version of the Millennium Falcon. What if we have a big AT-AT, right? Not like the Power of the Force 2 one or the old vintage one, but an even bigger one. Oh wait, we already have that. What about a scaled up AT-ST? We have that. Like, what about the 6-legged thing from the ATTE from Clone Wars? We have that. We have all these things. Like, I know one of the other ones that people talk about is the I can't show it. There it is. That guy right up there, the shuttle Tidarian. Yeah, I mean that's probably a decent idea for one because that hasn't been on a shelf now in almost 20 years, right? So I guess you could do that.
Yeah, 2007 was the last time it was at retail.
Right. So I mean that's been so long now. You could put that out again. But yeah, I mean...
You can just repack it. Yeah, repaint it, put it back out, maybe like do some enhancement. But I mean, does it need a HasLab?
Right. I mean, you can make a bigger one. Why? Why does it need to be bigger than that? That's where I'm at.
It's pretty big already.
it's a big ship. Yeah, it's a big toy already. I didn't have that as a kid, but as a kid I wouldn't have been able to fly it around. I just have to So that's kind of my thing about the Star Wars stuff is, we're never going to get a giant Star Destroyer because they're not going to make one that isn't in scale, so it's not going to be the size of a building. And I've always been in the camp, you can make one and just make it the size of the sail barge there. It's 4 feet long, and you can open it up and do stuff with it. But they're never going to do that because no one would want it because it's not properly scaled, and I understand that. Death Star playset really seems to be the most obvious one that everyone seems like they'd go gangbusters for, but again, the sail barge basically eked across the finish line.
Yeah.
So Cantina would be cool.
Yeah, so our friend Chris from Bantha School, he was talking about the Death Star, and when we talk about it, it's like, well, what is the Death Star to you? Like, what is it to me?
Right.
Like, you can talk to different people and they can tell you different things. Like, is it like a spherical thing? Is it like the old one? Is it like, remember that BB-8 playset that came out like for The Last Jedi, the 5POA? Like,
I love that thing. I love it. My take on that was like, that's what your Death Star playset should look like. Like, just do that.
There's that. Yeah, and then it's
now remember that was also sold at retail for $200 and clearanced out at $50.
I know. I never found it. I would have bought it for $50, but
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. And then it's like, is the Death Star more like the Tana V4 playset where it's just like hallways and stuff that you can connect, like modular, or is it like a mix? Is it like maybe like part of it you see like the outside of the Death Star and part of you see something else? Is it A New Hope? Is it Return of the Jedi? Is it a mix? Like, there's so many variables, and I think when Chris talks about the Death Star as a potential playset, like, that's just kind of one of those things. Like, for you, let's just if you were going to get a Death Star from HasLab, what would you want?
The original Micro Collection series. See here? This thing.
Yeah. There you go.
Now, it's two separate pieces. This is one, and this is the other. This is the trash compactor playset, and this one is the Death Star Escape, where they, you jump between, you can jump between, stuff, and it's got the little tractor beam. So something like that I think would be pretty neat. Plus there was a prototype for an Emperor's Throne Room one. So my take is what it would need is the Emperor's Throne Room, and then a bunch of the stuff from A New Hope. Trash compactor, the thing where he swings across.
The chasm, and,
Yeah, and the little room that's like red that the droids hide in, Put those
you gotta have the red room.
The red room, yeah. Put those things into it. Does it look like a sphere on one side? I have no idea. It would be cool, but then you're limited by the shape of that thing, which I think is probably more problematic than is worth. But also, frankly, I think that a Death Star playset would be best set up as a few of those little $50 ones where it's here's this room and here's that room and here's this room, and you can connect them or whatnot. But if you wanted to do a big HasLab for it, that would be the one. That would be a way to do it. How would you like it to be?
I like what you're saying. Incorporate like the most important, memorable Death Star moments, and I think most of those do come from A New Hope. And I know that back during the Power of the Force 2 days, they did do those little play sets. Remember, there was like the detention block, and I think they did the chasm, I want to say.
They did, both of them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that the detention block would be an important one. I think...
detention block and trash compactor.
Trash compactor, yeah, for sure. I forgot about that. The red room and then the throne room, I think for me would be, and then also like some hallways, just some like space between them where you can like line up your stormtroopers and stuff. Right. And then maybe for like a bonus, there's like a little like an extension that you can put your Millennium Falcon in, or your TIE Fighter in, just like a hangar. HasLab, like Death Star is a really hard one because it's just it's like it's weird. I don't know, but I do like the idea.
We've all had.
Yeah, and a lot of people want the Death Star. That is like one of those dream projects we talk about. Like that is one that, would make a lot of people happy. But I think, you're also maybe going to piss off people too because, everybody has a different idea of what a perfect Death Star would be. Right. So, yeah, that's we always knew what the sail barge should look like because it should look like the sail barge from the Return of the Jedi, right? And remember, I'm in the camp that it should have been 2.5 feet long. I love this thing. It's the crown jewel in my collection. But I was always like, you can make it, the skiff is this big, right? Make the other thing this big, about the size of the original Millennium Falcon. It's just a little toy, so you can, I would have been fine with that. But, one of the things about the Death Star is that, people like me have had over 40 years to want it and think about it. You're like 30 years, right? Younger people now, they've had 20 years to think about it. So yeah, it becomes a very tricky thing. Do you make it so that it's a really great playset with cool playset features? Or do you make it so that it's just a really incredible diorama piece? For instance, the... no longer HasLab, but originally HasLab, Jabba the Hutt throne room. It's tricky. That one's a dream thing for me. Sail barge and Jabba's palace are like those are the things for me. And now that I'm getting those,
That's it. I'm done collecting. I'm packing the bags in. It's over.
Yeah.
I'm buying.
Death Star with the first stretch goal being Simalu, I think maybe you'd fund if you did that.
My God. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Or even better, all the dignitaries, like, just throw them all in there.
Oh my God, that'd be so... There's a guy on Etsy named Trash Compactor Customs. So he makes these 3D printed things. And I've bought a couple of them. I got Jay Quill and I got Cain Addis, the two-headed giraffe from Jabba's Palace.
Oh yeah.
And they're resin kits, so you've got to be careful with them. And they're not toys, but I painted them up. But yeah, he just posted Trash Compactor Customs on Instagram. All the other Imperial dignitaries in classic vintage style. They're incredible looking. They're absolutely incredible looking. Yeah, nice. So you can collect them all of those dull, uninteresting characters.
Yeah,
which
true.
I will still be the first in line to buy Sim Alu if he ever comes out in the vintage collection, because that is a terrible figure, and I need it.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, there's so much. Yeah, I don't know what you'd. Yeah, stretch goals for that. I don't know. I wouldn't even start to think about what stretch goals would be or what they would. Man, no offense, Hasbro team, but because of the rank order and how bungled that one was, what would they do? They'd be like, "Oh, it's the Emperor again," and
maybe,
this one he's sneering.
Maybe a cannon for the Death Star gunners to sit on.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a lot of people discussing the Ghost from Rebels. What do you think about the Ghost?
Man, I think that's DOA. But I might be out of touch there. A friend of mine who's not a deep level Star Wars fan, we share a lot of the same opinions of stuff. Though his favorite Star Wars movie is Attack of the Clones, which I think is fascinating. And he just watched through all of Rebels. He'd never seen it, and he had some time. He's like, I'm just going to watch it. And he's like, it's delightful. What a fun cast of characters those are. What a fun show. All right. Whereas it never connected very much with me. But that's specifically because I didn't like Ezra very much. Ezra never grew on me. I liked everyone else. I didn't like Zeb very much either. Loved Kanan, loved Hera, loved Sabine. I loved those three. Those three characters. The Ghost, maybe that's a possibility for $350. If it's featured in the Ahsoka show, I think it's got a chance.
Right.
Yeah. Make certain it doesn't creep above the $350 price point. Slim it down however you've got to do it.
Yeah. The Ghost one kind of throws me a little bit because, how many years are we removed from Rebels when, people were asking for those figures, the whole crew. The Ahsoka show is the best bet for, as far as maybe it being a possibility, but then you still have the ordeal of, okay, well, now we need Ezra, Kanan, Hera, Sabine, Chopper. Like, we don't have any of those in TVC. There's no Rebels figures in TVC. So it's like, now you need all those. Are they part of the HasLab? If they are, then the price is going to go up exponentially. If they're not, are people going to want a Ghost when they don't have those figures? And then if it's the thing like, okay, well, now the show Ahsoka is out. Maybe we get live action versions, but then what if we don't have the full crew? And then what if people still want the Rebels figures? And they, so it's like, I like the idea of a Ghost. The Ghost is a cool ship. I certainly don't have room for it. I can tell you that, but that hasn't stopped me. I wouldn't
get it.
Yeah, that hasn't stopped me before. I would support a Ghost if it was the next HasLab, but I don't have any figures for it. And that's, for me, it's like, I have 1 million figures for the Death Star. I have 1 million figures for the Cantina. I have 1 million figures for Jabba's Palace. I don't have anything for the Ghost.
Right. Yeah, it's a tricky thing. Like, if there's a large enough fan base of people now who have, probably about 5 years removed from the finale. When was the finale of Rebels?
At least 5 years ago, at least.
Last aired March 2018. So 4 years ago. That's still over 4 years ago. Well, that means you've got kids who are now watching it who are now in their teens, or older people that have had 4 years to grow extra impatient and nostalgic for it. There's a logic there, but from where I'm sitting, unlikely. I would be very, very surprised if that one made it. But also, let's be honest, I'm really stunned that the Rancor didn't. I really, really was excited about the Rancor. I had no question, no doubt in my mind that the Rancor was going to make it. And then when the tiers were all announced as just dud after dud after dud, I was like, oh, geez, guys, this, you might have sunk it. Yeah. I don't know. The Ghost is an interesting idea. If you could get the price down lower than $350, you might stand a better chance. Well, again, there was.
It's not going to be that cheap.
No. I think that's their minimum. If they're putting something on HasLab, I think
minimum
three. I think you think 400. That's what minimum. The Falcon was when it got re-released.
Yeah, minimum, and that was just a repaint. Well, it was reworked. Yep. The electronics were reworked a little bit, but the Ghost, the Ghost.
I think they changed what the sounds make, right?
The interchangeable radar dishes. The lights are LED instead of like incandescent bulbs.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think there are people asking for the Ghost. I think a lot of them maybe are like younger crowd, or at least younger sold crowd. I'd welcome it. I'd back it. Sure, but that's not what I think is a bona fide win for a HasLab, and it's not something that I would choose over other options. Which brings me to the one that I am most hoping for.
The Galactic Senate playset.
Yeah, the Galactic Senate playset, followed by the Canto Bight sail barge. Those are the two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the
iconic
two that we
things.
Need. Yeah, very iconic. The Mos Eisley Cantina. We need the Cantina. Like we had for ages this cardboard pop-up 3D Power of the Force diorama, which served its purpose in my collection for a long time. I still have little bits of it up there, up here where I have the Cantina. It's like spliced and stuff, and they did do some bar sections back in the early 2000s that you could get like in single packs, or you could get them through Walmart or Kmart exclusives. Some figures came with little pieces of them. They have stools, and there are no stools at the Cantina bar, so they're inaccurate to begin with. We need an actual...
There weren't any stools?
Not at the bar in the Cantina, no.
How did people sit?
They were standing. They were standing.
What a crummy cantina.
Take it up with...
What a terrible place.
Yeah. Shulman's Canteen.
With Wooher.
No, well, both of them.
The Wookiee Chalum.
Yeah, the Wookiee owner of the Cantina. That we never see. Yeah. The thing about the Cantina, too, though, is it can serve double duty. If you want it to be Mandalorian-based, you could put it in there. If you want it to be a New Hope-based, put it in there. It serves as a great scene. If you don't want it to even just be a generic canteen, you could throw any alien in there and it'll look great. It needs to have the bar. It needs to have the dispensary for the libations. It needs to have the maybe
at least 3 alcoves to sit in.
At least some alcoves to sit in. A little bit like of an overhang, I think, would be great. And then you maybe like it doesn't have lights per se, but it has like little spots maybe where you can put your own lights to make it like come to life more. Do that.
Put the darn lights in there. It doesn't have wheels or anything like that, so you're saving on tooling costs there, where it's not a vehicle that you have to piddle around with. It's a backdrop with some things that you put in.
Yeah, do that.
I think. Yeah, I think that's I think that would. I don't think you could charge $350 for it. But
no.
What was the Jabba the Hutt thing? Was it $200 or $250? $250, right?
I think it was $250.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot, but that's a thing that I'd wanted since I was a kid, so I spent the money on it, and I can't wait to get it in 10 more years.
I think $250, would be a good price. If you make the stretch goal, the Tonica Sisters, it's going to get funded within a day. I'm calling it now. If they were to do that, and you have that as a stretch goal, you're going to fund
15 seconds. It's done in 15 seconds. And then the final stretch goal is Sim Alu.
In the Cantina?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah,
he's just to get him.
Man, there's so many. There's so got the gosh darn Cantina. Okay, so can I complain for a second, as I'm wont to do?
You may.
Jabba the Hutt's throne room is loaded with too much junk. All right, there's too much junk in that. There's all these tiny little bottles and tiny little doodads and stuff. They're all going to go into a Ziploc bag that everyone's going to toss into a bin somewhere. Don't do that with the Cantina, guys. Just the bar, have the neat little thing in it. You can put a couple glasses in there or whatever, but don't put all the little doodads. Instead, let's get that weird alien with the fly head and the Tonica Sisters, and
we need the little rat guy.
The little rat guy. Wait, isn't that Cabe? Don't we already have him?
No, Cabe's a bat, like a bat mask. There's the one that's like a rat. It's like when Han shoots Greedo, you see him turn around like real quick, and he makes like a squeaky sound.
Oh man, yeah, I think I just thought that was the same as Cabe.
No,
I'm not very observant.
No, and then there's also Banny's Key, he's the other like Duros that's in there.
We don't need another Duros. Just buy the same Duros twice.
They have different costumes.
It's fine. I don't care. Just buy 2 of that guy and put them there. Give me.
Yeah, Arleal.
Give me the guy with the bug head. Who?
Arleal Shus, the Wolfman guy that was
he's
cut
the one
out
with like.
With the red glowing eyes.
Don't we have him?
No, that's Lax Sivrak.
We have a Wolfman.
That's Lax Sivrak.
What's the difference between them?
2 totally different masks, costumes.
My God, you're lying to me. All right, Lax Sivrak. All right, Lax Sivrak looks like a wolf. Okay, I'm looking at a picture of him, and what's the other one's name? Oh, Arleal. These are different?
Yep.
What is different here?
It's 2 different.
That's the same character.
No, completely different.
That's
costumes.
the same character. Oh wait, here's a comparison of them. No. Okay, maybe. No.
They're different.
Nonsense. Malarkey.
Yeah. Well, we have a figure of Lax Sivrak.
Why do you let me on this podcast? I can't even tell the difference between Lax Sivrak and Arleal Shus.
Arleal Shus, we see him twice in
the scene. Wow. Okay, no, I see another picture of him now. Oh, yeah, he's really cool looking. He's the one that got cut, huh?
Yeah, he got replaced with Ketwall. And then the other one that got replaced was Lax Sivrak, who got replaced with... No, Lax Sivrak was replaced with Ketwall, and Arleal Shus was... I think his name was Malos. It was the Ketwall mask turned around backwards. To make it look like a lizard or something.
Yeah, right. Terrible things. Yes. Release the Lax Sivrak and Arleal Shus cut. Yeah. Anyway, I think it's high time they made a Cantina.
Yeah.
People love to collect Cantina figures. Like people love to collect Jabba guys, and they want a space to put them in.
Yeah.
Do it. Same with the Death Star and the Empire stuff, They're display pieces to put your guys. That's what we all did with the sail barge, right?
Sure.
It opens on one side.
Yeah.
So we all put our guys inside of it and on top of it. And on the other side, it's the closed thing. And it's perfect and it's great and it sells for $3,000 now on eBay.
Right.
I wish I'd bought more than one.
Yeah, no, it really does though. I saw one at Celebration for $3,000. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I'd say it's worth $1,500.
Yeah.
The fact that I got that and it cost me $500 now, several years later, I'm like,
I know.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, there's no way like it would cost that now. It would be $750 easily.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even that long ago. That was when Rebels ended, right? No, like even after that, wasn't it? Like 2020?
I think
we got it in 2020, I think, like March or something.
No, we got it at least in 2019, possibly 2018. 2020 was of course when COVID started, so
I don't remember anymore.
I'd had that for at least a year or so.
I thought it was 2020 we actually got it in hand, but my memory fails me. Somebody in the comments will tell us for sure. I know that.
And then they'll yell at me about not knowing the difference between Lack, Sivrak, and Arleal.
Right, and the little rat guy and Cabe.
And the fact that I didn't know that Boba Fett had a different costume in Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back. His gauntlets are orange in one, Tom. Orange!
Oh, no, they're red, weren't they? They were red, like dark red.
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, that would be my pick. The Cantina, then let's do the Death Star. Those are two things we desperately need. If the Cantina is anything like this upcoming Book of Boba Fett / Return of the Jedi, Jabba's Palace, then it's gonna be top notch. It's gonna be exciting, and we'll flock to it. So
I'd buy it. I'd buy that more than the Death Star at this point, because I think the Death Star would be. We've hit a point that because I've got the sail barge, I've got Matty Collector, Castle Grayskull, and Super 7 Snake Mountain. I'm straight up out of room for any of these big things. But like a Cantina playset, I'm guessing you could have a thing about this big, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
I would think so.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, so I mean, that's how they can fix the issue of getting Star Wars funded. TVC. Make it one of these dream things that we've been wanting a long time, whether it's the Cantina or the Death Star. Make it with enticing stretch goals, and it'll fund. Again, Cantina at Tonica Sisters, that's a slam dunk.
Everyone wants the Tonica Sisters. There's not a person on the planet that doesn't want the Tonica Sisters.
Well, if they don't, then they're insane.
They're bad people. At this point, I would buy the Tonica Sisters.
Wow, that's saying something.
I think like they must have sued George Lucas or something like that at some point, because I don't understand why they haven't released those.
Yeah, I mean they can, they totally can, but it hasn't happened. So yeah, we'll see. Do you think? Last question, Tom. Do you think that they will be announcing the next HasLab at Comic-Con?
No, not for Star Wars. No. I think if they're wise, the Star Wars, the HasLab team is going to put a pause on Star Wars for a year. I don't know if they'll do that, but I would, if I were there, I'd be like, let's put a pause on Star Wars HasLabs for a year, and come back to it with fresh eyes.
That makes sense.
I think it's
I would say this fall at the earliest.
Yeah, I think after 2 flops in a row. I mean, the lightsaber thing, that one flopped. The Rancor was close, but it still didn't make it. That one crushes me. I'm going to go to my grave bummed that I don't have a giant Rancor. I knew what was getting tossed into storage to get replaced by a giant Rancor. It's my couch. Couch was going goodbye. Giant Rancor.
Yeah, who needs a couch when you can have a giant Rancor?
I'll sit on the Rancor. I thought that thing was gorgeous. Oh God! Like here, I know I'm in the minority. I liked the Boba Fett TV series. It's kind of stupid. It's full of really stupid choices of things that like didn't make any sense, and bizarre, really peculiar story choices about most anything that's happening in it. But Boba Fett ran around on a Rancor at the end of it, and it beat up a giant robot. And I was like, that's pretty fun. Right, he beat up two giant robots. Yeah. That was fun for me to watch. And I could forget that all the extras running around in the streets were once again just humans in burlap sacks.
Boba Fett, do you have an appointment?
Yeah. And that they didn't give Fennec Shand anything to do. I'm so sick of... oh, my God. You've got Ming Na in there, and you don't give her anything to do except say...
Boba, don't do
it. The people should walk you around on a platform. Daimo. Boba Fett, we should go here and shoot someone. My character is assassin. Oh,
don't take the bait, Boba. Yeah. Enough said there, I guess. Anyway, so no, good stuff. Hopefully, the next HasLab is a hit, no matter what it is, and hopefully it's something we want to add to our collections. Tom, thank you for hanging out with me, discussing Hasbro's HasLab Star Wars initiative, if you will.
Yep. Thank you for having me. I love chatting about it and yelling about it.
Of course. Yep. And where can our viewers and listeners go to look you up on the interwebs?
I'm a Woozlin Demon on Twitter and Instagram, though I never post anything much on Instagram. So, mostly Twitter.
Right on. Well, thanks again, Tom, and we'll talk again soon.
All right. Cheers. Bye, Victoria.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the Cantina Chatter Podcast. Huge thanks to my guests on this episode. You can also find me on the Vintage Collection Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. Please consider leaving us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. Follow Victoria's Cantina, where it all started on YouTube, celebrating 9 years this year, where we talk about Star Wars toys, including news, analysis, reviews, and interviews. There's also the weekly live stream Cantina Social Hour every Friday night. You can follow me on Twitter at Vic's Cantina, on Instagram at Victoria's Cantina, and on Facebook and TikTok. Extra special thanks to our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for helping us to do what we do. Collect them all, and no matter where you're tuning in from out in the galaxy, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to the Cantina Chatter Podcast.